Good day and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob. Thanks so much for joining me. In our most recent post here, we uncovered hidden requirements. We call them inner requirements that are expectations that we so oftentimes place on ourselves. Even if we do it unconsciously, it's still not uncommon for us to do this. In fact, the two founders of modern psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, you probably heard of both of them. Maybe you've read about them or even read their material. They both placed great importance on our making conscious that which was previously unconscious. If you think about it, if we apply Freud and Jung to this current exploration that we're making, you and I simply cannot change our inner requirements if we're not, first of all, aware of them. So that's the first order of business. And choice follows on awareness. That is to say, I can't choose to change something if I'm not aware of it. So let me become aware of it, and then maybe I can move towards making good choices. And that's what I'm hoping to help you with here in what I think of as an excavation process here that we're right in the middle of right now. Let me ask you, how did you fare with our exercise most recently, where I asked you to connect up those qualities that you don't identify with and how they feel in your body and in your emotions. They're actually the opposite of the qualities with which you do identify, and that's where I want to focus today. I asked you in that previous exercise to generate any possible inner requirements that might arise in relationship to those, what we called opposite of you qualities. Let me just say a brief word about this. This is very closely related to what Carl Jung talked about in his concept of the shadow. It's just that part of ourselves that we just as soon not have associated with us or with who we really are. It's the opposite of what Jung called our persona, which is the mask, the face that I present to the world. Well, there's the shadow. In our previous exercise, I was requesting that you examine the shadow, that you go into the qualities that you don't feel identified with and see what kinds of feelings come up, and then see if you can identify any scripts or inner requirements around those various qualities. The example I gave is that if you identify with being kind, and if the opposite of kind is being mean, what's it like to examine that to see if you have any requirements that forbids you to ever be mean? That'd be an example. So for today, what I want to do is I want to go back to that exercise, that previous exercise. This time, though, I want to focus on the qualities with which you identify. These are the ones that you identify with. They're inside the circle from that original exercise. I'm going to ask you to do something. Will you either draw a line through each one of these one at a time, or you can erase it, whichever way works. Draw a line through each one of these half a dozen qualities. And as you do that, it's important that you notice what's going on as you do that. I want you to imagine that you, as you erase it or draw a line through it, I want you to imagine that you no longer possessed that quality. And I'd like you to observe, how do you feel knowing that you just erased kindness, for example? Do you feel any body tension or anything related in your physical self? Do any uncomfortable feelings arise? Just like you to observe what happens as you systematically erase or draw a line through each one of these qualities with which you are identified. Let's see what you find, okay? What we're looking at here is to begin to discover places where we are attached when it comes to our own, oftentimes most cherished personal qualities. And we'll come back the next time to explore some of the implications of this exercise today, okay? I wish you well with it. I wish you well. Please stay safe, take good care of yourself, and come back and join me again soon.